Hey guys, so today's video is on the Musa. So the Musa is a traditional Korean warrior. Wielding a single blade and a hornbow, the Musa darts in and out of combat, using powerful sword strikes and crippling arrows to dictate the flow of battle. So the pros to playing Musa is he's very fast, like crazy fast. He has great AoE for grinding, and he looks really cool. Like this is one of his cash shop outfits that I managed to win, but just in general the Musa looks really cool. Now the cons of the Musa is he is somewhat gear dependent. So don't expect to be an amazing Musa as soon as you got like plus 15 green gear. You've got to go a bit beyond that. He uses stamina for his dashes, so while he is very fast, using chase, which is his dash like this, you'll notice I use WP and stamina down here. He's also very weak in 1v1 PvP. A Musa's speed means he can always choose whether to fight or run away when challenged for his grinding spot. A Musa's strength means he will always choose to run away. So the main abilities for a pre-awakened Musa are Dragon Bite, which is S plus L and B, Rising Storm, which is Shift plus Q, Carver, which is Shift plus L and B, and Blooming, which is, oh, there we go. And Blooming is Shift, L and B, and R and B at the same time, and you can only use it after a few certain skills, which are detailed in the skill description itself. So Blooming can be used instantly while using Carver, Chase, and for Blind Thrust, and you can also use it slowly, as you saw I did, where you summon the sword first, and then use it. And these are the main skills for Musa's pre-awakening, and a few of them can be upgraded. So if you use Rising Storm, you can then press L and B after it to use Rising Storm Blaze once you get these skill. And same with Dragon's Bite. It also has a skill after it, which is, I believe, yeah. So there's a few different skills the Musa can have, but the main ones are Dragon Bite, Rising Storm, Carver, and Blooming. So that's your main PvE type stuff. Pre 56, you're not really doing much PvP anyways, so don't worry too much about PvPing in the blade form. For PvP, the only useful skill apart from those are Stub Arrow and Triple Arrow, as well as Blind Slash and Nemesis Slash. And you're also going to want, so the skills you're going to want to get once you awaken are, for every class, you always want the passive skills that are at the bottom of your tree. And then once you awaken, you only really want Dragon's Bite and Triple Arrow for sure. The others are more of a take them if you have the skill points or if you really want them. Musa Spirit's also an excellent skill because it gives you back. So let's use some stuff there. So it gives you back WP. So you just press Shift E, you gain WP back. It's pretty good, but it is on a fairly long cooldown. It's not a channel like other classes have, such as the Dark Knight. So it's good for in combat, but not so good if you're just trying to regenerate between fights. Once the Musa awakens, he gets the Glaive, or in game as it's called, the Crescent Blade. He has huge AoE, it's amazing for grinding, it's flashy as hell, and it spins more than a helicopter riding a merry-go-round, which is not a joke. You will literally spend all your time in PvE spinning, 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 lots of spinning. So be prepared for that. If you don't like spinning, Musa might not be the class for you. So his main combo in PvE, once he's 56, is literally just spin. And you can work some spaces in there as well as below the belt, which is Shift L and B. But for the most part, you're just holding A and D and left mouse button. And using some spaces in there as well to regain WP. That is your main PvE stuff. You can also use projection, which is Shift R and B, but for the most part, below the belt and crosscut are good enough, and that's below the belt, which is Musa's main damage skill. However, for PvP, it gets a little bit different. The Musa in PvP requires a lot more, and most of it starts out of the blade form rather than the awakened form. So I'll show you guys the Musa's main PvP combo. That was the main PvP combo for the Musa. It can be done a bit faster, but that's what it generally is. So what that is, the entire combo, is you start off in blade form, you catch them out with a stub arrow, triple arrow, then you chase inwards, use Dragon Bite to apply a stun, use projection to apply floating, use crosscut, then use fiery crevice, and then use cross crusher. And all in all, it's a fairly fast combo. So that's the combo at normal speed. It's decently fast. It applies multiple different status effects that stack upon each other and keep the enemy from being able to do anything, and it does a lot of damage. The problem is, it requires a lot of setup. You have to land the triple arrow. You can't mess up the chase. And if it doesn't kill someone, you're probably not going to be able to kill them anyways, as that's most of your abilities. Now, the important part to note about this combo is that you do need to use projection from the hotbar, as that is how we transfer from blade in. So I'll go through the combo slowly. So you hold Shift R and B to use stub arrow, then again to use triple shot, chase in, Dragon's Bite for the stun, projection from the hotbar to switch to the awakening, below the belt to get as a down smash attack, cross cut, and then if you're 57 you can use the flow to go back the other way. So cross cut, fiery crevice, and cross crusher. And that is the entire main PvP combo for the Musa. There are multiple other combos for the Musa. He has plenty of combos, but for the most part they just rely on blade form, using chase to get in and out and avoid stuff, and using triple shot to apply a quick stiffness. As triple shot, if I go down here, applies stiffness on good hits. And that is what we're relying on. We get the stiffness off, we dash in, we use Dragon's Bite to get the stun, we transfer to projection to get floating, then we use below the belt, which is a down attack and does really good damage. Then we use crosscut, right there, then fiery crevice, and then cross crusher. And that is the entirety of the combo. So experiment with the Musa. You don't need to use that combo specifically. There are multiple other combos. There are plenty of videos online that show a huge amount of different combos for the Musa. That's my personal favorite combo that I like to use the most, as it can one-shot most people if you have good enough gear. But there are other combos, and there are other combos that start an awakening form too. Don't think you have to use the blade. For example, if you use Fire Angel to initiate, which is forward and F, you can get a fairly decent initiation off if you can land it. If you can somehow land a projection using the super armor, I believe projection is super armor, right? No, it doesn't. It doesn't have super armor. Whoops. So if you can land a projection, you'll get floating. You'll float the enemy, and that will also let you go right into the combo. And just experiment, figure out what you like, watch popular streamers or other players and see what they do in sieges or in 1v1s when they're grinding, and try to emulate that yourself. Now, one of the main things you should know about Musa, before I finish this, is that to achieve the Supersonic Musa that you might have seen some Musas doing, which is that, you cannot just use chase. So if you're just using chase, just forward and right mouse button, this is what it will look like. And this is what you want. So in order to get that, so let's just regain a bit of WP here. What you need to do is go into your settings, go to your inputs, scroll way down to assign key WW, because WW is another way to use chase, and it'll always use it forward. And I've assigned mine to a mouse button. So just doing that is the same as using R&B. It's just a normal cast of chase. But if you do that and hold your auto attack at the same time, so left mouse button, you will go Supersonic Musa and you will become Sonic the Hedgehog or Sonic the Musa. And that is how you become incredibly fast. And carrying around a bunch of WP pots is a pretty good idea, because most Musas, especially at lower levels, will run out of WP way before they run out of stamina, despite needing both of them to do it. And this is important if you want to try to run away, if you want to try and engage with a chase. Having WP pots on you at all times when fighting is always just a good idea with the Musa, because the cooldown on Musa Spirit is pretty high. if I just go to it over here for a second, you can see that the cooldown is 18 seconds, which in combat is a lot of time to wait to get enough WP back to use some powerful abilities. Anyways, so PvP, one last time. I won't go over the combo again. I can just show it to you. But essentially all you're doing, no matter how you decide to do it, is you're just hunting down for those stiffnesses, those bounds, those stuns, using the blade form and using chase to avoid getting hit. And then you're going all in. And a quick note about chase, apart from the supersonic chase, is that you do not actually have a hitbox, or a collision box rather, when you're using it backwards. So if I try to chase forwards through a scarecrow, I go beside them because I can't go through it. But if I chase backwards through a scarecrow, you can go right through it, which is very handy when you're surrounded by monsters or players or anything that you need to get out of. If you've got a bunch of people in front of you and you can't get through, just turn around and chase backwards and then go supersonic away. And that is one of the easiest ways to just get away. So I'll go over the skill tree quickly before I close. So the important things for PvP for the Musa are backstep slash, blind thrust, nemesis slash, and blind slash. And all of these, every single one of these that I just named, as well as dragon's bite, are useful for getting stuns or stiffnesses or other crowd control effects on your opponent. And you don't use these for their damage, you use these just to get these effects off, get an opener, and then go in with damage. Rising Storm is good for grinding and damage, and Triple Shot is another crowd control skill. Then Precise Martial Arts is a pretty good thing to get just because it lets you ignore knockback and stiffness a bit. The Tiger Blade is good because it's a long cooldown, but it's very good in PvE. I guess I can just show you how it looks. Oops. Wrong one. So this is the Tiger Blade. You gain the Tiger Blade in your left hand, and you lose control of most skills except for except for Carver, I guess, and left mouse button. But you gain a ton of HP back on every hit, and you attack so quickly. This is great for fighting monsters in the open world, especially big ones. If you're having problems with monsters that have stuff like the violent tag over their heads, the Tiger Blade is great for it, as it lets you gain pretty much another health bar. It lets you get back to full health as long as you're not getting pretty much one shot. And it's just an all-around decent skill to have. You don't need it, but it's fun to have. Musa Spirit, you don't need level 3, but having at least level 2 is not a bad idea, as you gain an extra 30 WP over level 1, and get 2 seconds to get taken off the cooldown. If you want level 3, it's also pretty good to have. I just don't have it yet because I don't have the skill points on my Musa for it yet, but it's pretty good to have. Then going for Awakening, you want pretty much everything. You don't need Crescent Blade training. Well, I mean, you get it automatically now, but it used to be you had to purchase it using points, which is bad. But you do want everything up here you want. I think you have to buy Fiery Angel and Counter Assassination, but I know you have to buy Fiery Angel for sure. And then you want everything down here. Everything down here is good. Twister, that's what you use to regain WP when you're fighting. So let me transfer in here. So do that, and then Twister. Do that, Twister. And all you do that for is to regain WP. You get plus 20 WP for every good hit. It's on a 2-second cooldown, so you can use it pretty much all the time. And it's good just when you're farming monsters to get WP back. Then Spinner, not that important. You can actually ignore this. But it's good to have just in case you ever want to use it for a combo. Crosscut is like your bread and butter. Make sure you have this. Same with Below the Belt. These are probably your 2 most important skills for PvE and PvP for Below the Belt as well. Crust Crusher, very powerful skill. It does a lot of damage, hits a lot of people. Good to have, good for combos, good for everything. Fire Crevice, great for combos, very quick. You can use it right after Crosscut to ignore the animation. So this is the animation normally, which is pretty long. As you can see, if you just look at it, that's the normal animation. But if you use it after Crosscut, it's pretty much instantaneous, which makes it a very good skill. It's a bad skill normally. It's a great skill after crosscut. And then you've got below the projection, which is your only long range attack, and also lets you apply floating. And below the belt, which is probably one of the Musa's best skills, if not their best skill. Huge damage, low cooldown, super armor, bound on good hits. It's a down attack, so it does extra damage to people you've floated using any of your skills that apply floating or downed. It is just an amazing skill in general. Anyways, guys, that was the guide for the Musa. The only other tip I can really think of would be for your offhand for the Musa, you want the Blackhorn Warrior Bow. You don't want AP. Musas need a ton of accuracy. Like, I mean it, literally a ton of accuracy. Blackhorn Warrior Bow. Don't get base red coral earrings. I'm just running these because my Musa doesn't have my main accessories. But get yourself an Osceola set as soon as possible and make sure you're getting that accuracy set effect. And then for the 6th item, apart from the Osceola set, get either a Pry Tree Spirit Belt or a red coral earring, preferably Pry, and use that to provide yourself the accuracy, which will allow you to get the hits off in PvP and actually do okay. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something about the Musa. Subscribe if you like it, and have a good one.